Hello and welcome to Born Football TV. My name is Aaron Malolo and I'm with a very good friend of mine, Andy. Welcome to the show, man.
Yo, what's up, mate?
I'm fine, man. So today we're going to spring up an argument between me and this guy. And no, statistically is very good. So we'll be looking into the Merseyside derby, Everton versus Liverpool. So for the first part of this video, we'll be talking about Everton. My man, you have seen how Everton has been doing so well, winning the first 4 games of the league. How do you make of that team?
Well, I can say that Everton, they are the team on form at the moment.
Yeah.
They have 12 goals already in the league, and they have, a better defensive record, than the opponents tonight. So I think that they've been doing well for the longest of time, and they had a better start, to their counter rivals.
And also the adaptation of the new signings. I mean, we saw Decore, we saw Alan, and we saw James. The way they just adapted into the team, the way they just gelled into the team. Let's talk about that, because they are new, and they just gelled into the team as if they've been there for some time.
Yeah, it tells you more about the coach. It tells you more about how the coach views his team and how he recruits. He got 3 signings, and they just went all to their starting 11. Sidelining the guys who've been there for a while. I can say that that the Everton team has been performing very, very well. With the new signings coming in, they did the job. And then you have like your Alan, who is there, guarding the back 4, barking instructions at everyone, making sure that everything is in order. And then you have your Decore, like he's coming in, like he's a box-to-box midfielder and does it so well. So you have like a good team,
well balanced,
in terms of like the new signings coming in, fitting in, and then now like having a different approach to the game as compared to last season.
And also let's talk about Calvert-Lewin. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism against the guy that he was not delivering at the strike, he was not scoring goals. But I mean, this season he has scored in their first 4 games. He has scored in each of those goals, and obviously scoring a hat-trick in one of the encounters. I mean, his confidence has gone up. Let's talk about that.
Well, what I can say about him is that you can see that like the coach trusts him, and now the coach is making him work very well. You see, Calvert-Lewin last season, he was like that one person, him and Richarlison, they would like launch the ball forward, but now he's not more involved in the game. He's just involved in the finishes, because
it's sort of like the sticking
strike. He's now like the only center forward, so now he sticks in the box. As you can see, like how he plays, he's always in the box. One-touch finishes, and now he's scored in like almost every game that he's played this season. You see, he even scored for the England first goal, so you can see that he's a man on form. And
and also there's one guy, I think in this past few years we have been talking about, Gomez. Gomez has really done well, and I think you did say that he plays a similar position like who's this guy, Sergio Busquets. It's those guys that you may not see them, but when they are absent, you can actually see.
Yeah, with Under Gomez, the guy is very good. He's that one player who like also gels with the new signings. Because like he sort of upped his game, and now like he's able to shine. You see, because he's that one player who plays out from the back. Like with like forward passes and good passing game.
He's a very deep player.
You see? So if like he's in form and ready to play, that he's gonna come in, clear the ball. Only to transition the play from defense to attack. That's like the one person that they trust, from like turning that like position from defending to attacking. You trust him, you give him the ball, he makes those good passes.
And also the ability of Everton to actually stack up and attack one flank. I mean, we have seen it in the first game they played against the Tottenham. The way James will change the ball from the right side to the left, obviously finding Digne or Richarlison. I mean, they've just been doing that so well that most of their goals are coming from this side of Richarlison. They stack up in that one side and they attack. And if you look at Liverpool, that is like their weakest link, Trent Alexander-Arnold's weakest link. Let's just briefly talk about that.
You can see that Carlo Ancelotti like is using like a tactic, that has been like famous.
Master tactician,
famous for a very long time. It's called bait, and then you expose them. He bait them to that left flank or that right flank, and then they switch up play like with the passing game of James Rodriguez. He's very, very good. He can just switch up the play, and then when he finds your Richarlison, he finds your Lucas Digne, who are very, very good, in terms of crosses and attacking the box.
Yeah, wow. I just like the way you put it, to say it's a bait, because basically that's what they do. obviously in their mind they're thinking, James is dangerous, and they can also use him as a bait to say, no, come this side of James, and then it changes the play, And I think for Everton, they've got quite a very good team, Obviously, coming into this fixture, their confidence level is up. They've won their first 4 games. But now the problem is that they will be playing without Alan Gomez. They'll be playing without Alan and without Gomez. And we in the last game, you saw how Brighton was all over them in that space of Alan and also Gomez. Let's talk about those shortages in their squad.
Those shortages in their squad, they'll obviously feel it. It now has to be that part that says you have your Sigurdsson, you have your Joe Allen. Davis. Those guys need to come in and step up and try to play the game, because when you look at the defense of Everton, it wasn't quite challenging, to the point, because they've always had the upper hand in those games. The upper hand, if they're playing a rough game, they are able to solidify their midfield and then go forward and attack. So now if you're playing like a side like Liverpool, obviously they have proper quality in the midfield, proper quality attacking wise. So those are spots that are definitely going to be exposed only if the incoming players do not up the game and keep the momentum of the team going.
Okay, so for the next part of the video, we'll be looking into Liverpool, how they lost in that 7-2, and what they need to fix coming into this fixture. So now we're going to look into the Liverpool game. Obviously, the first game for me was really a blunder, and they were really exposed. They played against Leeds 4-3 for the fact that champions' first game conceding 3 goals. It was a red flag for me. And also they played against Aston Villa last week and they lost 7-2. What do you think is the problem? Conceding 3 goals. Let's just say they conceded 10 goals in 2 games.
Well, we can say that they defensively they haven't been that strong, and that show they are out of 3 teams that considered 11, they are one of them. The defending champions. They scored 11, considered 11. So you can see that defensively they are not looking very solid, especially now with missing Alisson. So you can tell that defensively they're not very strong, and they will need to have, I don't know how to put it, they'll need to have a plan, because this has been going on for a while. They played against Marcelo Bielsa, coach who studied most games, so he studied how they played and was able to manipulate and expose them in his first game in the Premier League. So now he's playing against Carlo Ancelotti. The guy is 2 champions, and you can see that it's going to be a very, very tactical game, and there's a lot of psychological warfare going into this one, because Liverpool are wounded lions, so you cannot just write them off. They're defending champions, man.
You cannot. And also another thing, let's look at the goalkeepers for both teams. Jordan Pickford. Some people have been criticizing him, and the criticism is well taken, because he has been making unnecessary mistakes. There's a mistake he made against Whiting. Whiting scored. He has just been making a lot of mistakes, And also Liverpool, they have Adri, has also been making mistakes, Liverpool have players that are missing. Mane won't be there, Thiago won't be there, Henderson won't be there to cover for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Let's just talk about that briefly.
Well, some of those players might be there, so we're not getting very, very sure about that. So what I can say, with regard to the goalkeepers, we are going to see a high-scoring game. That is a fact, because both defenses are not the most strong. So with Jordan Pickford on the other hand, that guy has been exposed for quite a while now. And plus, there's the signing of Olsen at Everton. I'm not sure whether that deal fell through or there were still in talks. But with the transfer deadline passed now, I'm sure they managed to get that goalkeeper. So it might be a way to just force the best out of the player. If Pickford doesn't perform, that there's also on the bench who will step up and do the work. And then when you look into the side of Adrian, I think a lot of our fans were calling him to be be on the bench and sign another goalkeeper before the transfer window closes. So it was a matter of time, for these goalkeepers, get exposed because of their like the people in front of them, the defenders.
But also, do you think maybe this game is a chance for Adrian to actually redeem himself?
I think so. I mean, for any player, if you've done bad before, the only time that you can redeem yourself, is through a derby. The same goes for Gomez, because he's been heavily criticized, past few games for being not that top on his top form. So this game, it's a make or break for most of them. If you don't redeem yourself, you even bury yourself, 20 feet deeper.
That means he will have to do quite a hard work, because he's playing against Calvert Lewin, who is on form, who has a positional intelligence. But also, Liverpool. What can I say? Like we were saying, that they've been exposed in one flank, and that is the flank that Everton attacks more. And for me, I don't know. Do you see them winning this game? Obviously, we cannot write them off. These are the champions. And we've seen the way they press. They use aggressive pressing. Sometimes they don't give the other team time and space in the ball. So now with the Liverpool that has those kind of lines, I'm asking myself, how will Everton survive?
We'll just look at Everton's play. They flood one flank and free the other. And which flank has been that? So every time if they bait them to the left-hand side of the field, they'll leave Trent Alexander-Arnold left open if they decide to play the switch ball either to Richarlison or Damian. So it's going to be a spectacle to watch, especially if they don't find a perfect cover for
But also, if you watch that Arsenal game and the Manchester and Arsenal game, not Manchester, Liverpool and Arsenal game, you saw how Liverpool pressed, the positional pressing, the man-oriented pressing. Arsenal, they just could not match, because they were starting that build-up from the back, but they just could not match, because there were no spaces, and Liverpool has that ability of not giving the other team spaces, and they always have this frame man here, Henderson, so that whenever the team tries to push the ball, they fall into Henderson. I'm asking myself, how will Everton?
But now, like that's going to be very, very hard for them to do, because if you look at them man to man, there are going to be like a lot of battles all over the field. If they do the high press and positional pressing, as you said, it won't be that easy to press them, because if you look at the physique of the Everton players, from the back line, from the midfielders, those guys are very, very strong. So they can just take them on and check out Allen's passing game. If he'll be in there, it's short passes with your Gomez. He can play either long or short passes. So whenever they play from the back, Liverpool might try to play that line, but they'll be exposing themselves off the long ball, and that Richarlison is very, very good with pace and is very, very aggressive. So give him the ball, pass it to the space. That he's going to get there, and that he's going to fight and make his way to the box.
Also, Mane won't be there. For me, Mane is unlike Salah, he's a box-to-box kind of a player. He manages to go forward and also come back. Offensively is very good. Also defensively he's on par, and he plays on this side of Henderson. He won't be there, but obviously, they brought in Jota, who really tried to play in that position. But it's really a big blow for their money, because it's one of their top players.
Well, for this game, I think that they're gonna heavily rely on their midfield. The likes of Fabinho, the likes of Wijnaldum to be the people who do more box-to-box work than before, because if you check out some of the games, when Wijnaldum pushes, and attacks, joins the attack, Trent Alexander will come into the midfield to make that 4-3-3 formation, so that when they try to push up front, they have that man in the middle. So now when you play against Everton, that they change formations, they change shapes in just one game. They quickly adapt to the style of play. So I think that the thinking behind Carlo Ancelotti will be I know the starting 11, or besides that, I know the formation that they're going to bring, and I know that how my team can shape themselves. Because some games, when the team is playing, they can shape themselves, especially Everton, they can shape themselves in 4-2-3-1, or a different shape with Richarlison and Calvert Lewin up there. So now with the players who are missing from Liverpool, they stand a big chance of being exposed in terms of the attacks. How will they break them down? How will they make sure that they sustain their high press without exposing Trent Alexander-Arnold or anyone, because even Van Dijk was exposed in that.
Okay, in closing, who do you see winning this game?
Well, it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a hard one. I'm afraid to put my neck on the line, but you know, after 10 years, you know, of not winning, because like this day marks exactly 10 years since Everton won the Merseyside derby. So I think that
It's time.
it might be time. Like this is what I'm thinking. You look at the time they have to prepare for the game.
Yeah.
It's very, very limited.
Yeah, sure.
Fresh from international break, you have players who travel to South America, and the likes of James and the likes of Firmino,
Yeah.
you know, travel to South America and back. The likes of other African players had to travel down here and then go back up here. So they don't have enough time to prepare for the game. And this is a game that needed ample amount of time, you know, to prepare for and be very, very, you know, alert to, because number one is a derby, number two, you're playing against a side that is very, very strong. So
I see we are beating up. Tell us, who is winning this one for you?
I'm gonna put my neck on the line and say the champions will come out top.
Liverpool will win.
It's either a win or a draw.
Wow. A really unexpected prediction over there. Obviously, in my mind, I was thinking I was going to say Everton because they've won their first 4 games, you know. And I mean, also, I would agree with him because, I mean, these are the champions. We cannot write them off. These guys won the Premier League, they won the Club World Cup, they won the Champions League. So they are still the champions. So we'll just see. But for me, I'd say Everton, but obviously my opinion doesn't matter because we have this guy. So for this episode, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure that you like this video, you subscribe and you leave a comment to tell us who is going to win this one.